In the 90s, trolls were the bomb. I think I had at least 40 of them prominently displayed on my childhood bedroom walls. I'm still collecting trolls today, but it's not the kind you like.
Be kind. Only you are responsible for how you treat others and what you put out in the world. I've had messages, I've been harassed for just doing my job, and this is where the problem is.
I was subjected to abuse online, which is sadly something which affects many people's lives, whether they're famous or not.
TV host Charlotte Dawson is fighting back against online bullies by publicly exposing them as Twitter trolls. After being driven to a suicide attempt by online tormentors, she's now campaigning to shame the trolls.
Good afternoon. My name's Emily Williamson and I am here today with Rebecca Ocock to talk about a current problem the social media sector is facing. We are the co-founders of Less Troll, More Lol. We aim to make a difference by reducing the number of trolls on the internet, and we want to sell our services to social media companies. This presentation will show how trolls affect people's lives and mental health through social media platforms. We use the 8-step model through this process. Case studies will support our mission, and we will be presenting solutions on how Less Troll, More Lol can solve these issues with 3 innovative options and 2 recommendations. Networks of hate on the internet is classed as troll culture and is a 21st century phenomenon. Internet trolls leave intentional hate messages for their personal gain and is a common trend on social media. And it does not tend to be on an individual platform. Studies show that 88% of teenage individuals have been trolled on Facebook, 70% on YouTube, 69% on Instagram and 67% on Snapchat. March and Steele describe a troll's personality as dark. They have psychopathic traits and have lack of empathy and self-control. Trolls are not a homogeneous group. They can be individuals aiming to disrupt businesses, celebrities, race groups, forums and many more. There are 3.8 billion active users on social media. Is the modern world giving narcissists and psychopaths a platform to give abuse and cause harm to others? Over to you please, Rebecca, for the case studies.
Looking at the American Academy of Pediatrics clinical report of the impact of social media on children, adolescents and families helps to gain a deeper understanding of the topic. The study warns about the potential for negative effects of social media on young children and teens, including cyberbullying and Facebook depression, stating that because of their limited capacity for self-regulation and susceptibility to peer pressure, children and adolescents are at risk as they navigate and experiment with social media. Our process would involve gaining trust from parents in our clients' sites to implement the process to prevent their children from suffering from the negative effects of social media. Social media is often used by children for school purposes, especially in unprecedented times such as throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, it's essential that sites offer a safe place for children to use. The study suggests that some parents may find it difficult to relate to their children online for several reasons, such as parents may lack a basic understanding of these new forms of socialisation. They frequently do not have the technical abilities or time needed to keep pace with their children in the ever-changing internet landscape or protect them from its negative aspects. Research indicates that the negative effects of social media often show in adolescent instances, that there are frequent online expressions of offline behaviour, such as bullying, clique forming and sexual experimentation that have introduced problems such as cyberbullying, privacy issues and sexting. Less Troll, More Lol have developed a process that will help social media sites to automatically filter out harmful comments, bullying and online trolls, which would not only minimise the negative effects of social media, but potentially could also attract users that are more willing to use social media as our process helps it to become less harmful. The case study states that it's important for parents to be aware of the harmful nature of social media sites, and although this is unquestionably true, the process we are developing for these sites means that they are much safer for children as we automatically filter out the negative aspects of the sites. The process also means that the monitorisation of the sites is done to ensure that the responsibility of this task does not lie with the parents, but only with us.
This next case study builds on the previous case study, but suggests that the same negative effects of social media are also present across all generations. The case study provides us with several different ways that social media is affecting the mental health of those who are using it. This information is utilised in order to assess where, why and who the process is being focused to. This study implies that social media is addictive. A review study from Nottingham Trent University concludes that the addiction criteria is present within social media, such as neglect of personal life, mental preoccupation, escapism, mood-modifying experiences, tolerance and concealing the addictive behaviour appear to be present in some of the people who use social media excessively. It promotes less emotional well-being. A 2013 study found that Facebook is linked to less life satisfaction, showing that rather than enhancing well-being, it undermines it. It encourages people to make comparisons. This plays a massive factor in people feeling socially isolated, with these comparisons being linked to depressive symptoms. In turn, this leads to jealousy. Comparing lives online can lead to jealousy, which can create a vicious cycle as users want to make their life appear better, including jealousy from others. The study shows that people believe that using social media will make them feel better, but evidence shows that participants using social media felt worse afterwards. Overall, this highlights how the negative impact of social media can be seen across all ages and generations. The third case study that has been analysed is in relation to one of the recommendations suggested by Less Troll, More Lol. This case study suggests that by using social media data, it can be an effective method for both the study and the prevention of bullying. Participants of a bullying episode, both physical or cyber, often post on social media regarding the experience. Such social media posts are collectively called bullying traces, and this data can be used to piece together instances of bullying. Examples of bullying traces include reporting a bullying episode, accusing someone as a bully, revealing themselves as a victim, or a cyberbullying direct attack. Research conducted by Gonzalez explained that social media has become a channel to bring its users into the cyberspace where things that are impossible in the real world are made possible, to provide a person in the cyberspace more power through the mask of anonymity, and to let unwarranted use of power dominance, and to allow information to travel fast. By creating a service where social media sites are able to track and trace where these bullying traces comments originate from, this will create a higher level of accountability for users of the platform, as comments can be traced to the person who is registered to the account. By creating and providing a service like this to offer to social media sites, paired with the bullying traces often left on social media, this will help to put an identity behind the bullying or harassing comments. Not only would this create a way to impose consequences on those creating this type of content, it would also deter people from making these comments to begin with, due to the potential consequences that can be more easily imposed on the individual, potentially making these sites safer for users.
Before we could make recommendations on how to solve the problem of social media trolling, we have researched what features are already in place to support users. Instagram have an anti-bullying feature that automatically detects and hides offensive comments on posts. These comments are considered to be inappropriate, offensive, bullying or spam. Instagram's community guidelines state that they are working to remove content that has the potential to contribute to real-world harm, including through policies prohibiting coordination of harm, hate speech, bullying and harassment, and misinformation that contributes to the risk of imminent violence or physical harm. Some social media sites utilise a built-in reporting option. The site's team then review these reports and removes any content that does not meet the guidelines. Users can unfriend, unfollow, delete and block other users in order to prevent online bullying and harassment and trolling, or to just see less of content that they don't like. Facebook's policy states that they provide heightened protection for users between the ages of 13 and 18. Self-reporting is encouraged as it helps the team to understand that the individual being targeted is feeling trolled, bullied or harassed.
The best defence to challenge cyberbullying is the development of prevention strategies. All people should try to adopt a proactive stance online to prevent cyberbullying entirely, rather than be reactive to cyberbullying and dealing with the consequences of it after the attack has occurred. This approach would help to decrease the number of people falling victim to cyberbullying attacks and would help to make social media sites safer for vulnerable people. More frequently seen on social media are social media movements created to help prevent bullying in the form of hashtags. The Me Too and Be Kind hashtag social movements have proved to be successful in recent years. The hashtags have led to widespread media coverage and worldwide discussion of the topics being brought up. Further supporting to these types of social movements by social media sites would create a larger platform for the issue of cyberbullying to be discussed and brought to light, and would highlight the organisation's proactive stance on dealing with online trolling, harassment and cyberbullying.
Lux explains that for situations when a problem needs a creative problem-solving approach, design thinking is suited for mature markets for process improvement and new product development. We have applied a design thinking framework by looking into consumer insights and needs on trolling and bullying on social media and have framed our recommendations to suit what the customer wants. The consumer type is any social media user. As studies show, social media trolling has a negative effect on mental health. We have addressed this as a need, and the insight to this is the regular campaigning from influencers and social media users wanting action to be taken to improve, which is mentioned in more detail soon. Social media platforms currently have conditions in place for trolling, but throughout 2020 and 2021, there is still lots of reports of social media influencers and celebrities facing abuse online. This identifies we need to innovate and to find a creative solution for the problem. To do this, we used a brainstorming strategy to define ways of solving the problem that would ensure users benefit from any updates on social media platforms from a user point of view. This problem-solving methodology aims to make social media platforms a safer place and to improve users' mental health. Various solutions were noted from the brainstorm, and the three options to improve this are for all users who apply for a profile or account on any platform must have identification of who they are. The second option is for the government to introduce stricter laws regarding online trolling and bullying. The third option is for artificial intelligence to filter out hate comments and profiles that are trolling or bullying on social media.
The first option being recommended is the introduction of users having to present identification when registering with social media sites. Users would have to submit verified ID if over the age of 18, and if under the age of 18, a parent or guardian must submit their verified ID in order for the user to be traceable. As suggested in People's 2014 journal, cyberbullying provides anonymity to the bully not possible with traditional bullying, which can encourage negative behaviour. By requiring verified ID in order to use social media sites, this can help to prevent anonymised harmful activity as it provides traceability if an offence occurs. The verified ID of the user registered to that account would not be accessible to other users and would only be used as a way to provide accountability for content that goes against the organisation's community guidelines. The strengths of this process are that it will help to put an identity behind the bullying or harassing content and create a way to impose consequences on those creating this type of content. It would also deter people from making these comments to begin with due to the potential consequences that can more easily be imposed on the individual. The weakness of this option is the potential security risk that may arise when storing this data and participants' willingness to give their personal data to companies. The public support of this recommendation can be recognised as there is currently a nationwide petition in the United Kingdom calling for the government to make it a legal requirement when opening a new social media account to prove a verified form of ID, and where the account belongs to a person under the age of 18, verify the account with the ID of a parent or guardian. The petition currently has over 150,000 signatures.
The second option is for the government to introduce more specific and stricter laws for trolling on social media. Trolls need to be held accountable for their actions, but this is currently being difficult due to a lot of trolls having anonymous accounts and profiles. Cyberbullying laws do exist in the UK, but it could be argued that trolling isn't the same as cyberbullying due to a troll wanting attention, to gain recognition, and to be offensive and argumentative. A cyberbully usually has an individual person to target and want to gain revenge, popularity, or upset that person. Therefore, trolling is still a current issue in 2021 due to no specific laws in place for trolling, which affects 1 in 4 young people regularly. The strength of this is it may reduce trolling due to the perpetrator knowing there is a strict law that faces consequences if broken. The social media platforms can then trace the perpetrator when the ID function is live and the troll can be prosecuted. The weakness to this option is if the penalties to breaking this law are minor, the chances are the crime will still be committed. It's important for social media platforms, the police and the government to work together for user safety. The third option is for social media platforms to have artificial intelligence filters to remove hate comments automatically on posts, stories and any posted content. This would give users confidence that when they are posting they won't see or receive any comments from trolls. This could improve users' mental health due to not seeing any negative and hurtful messages. This option also means the user doesn't have to block or remove any accounts or comments themselves. It should be the social media platform's responsibility to ensure users are not being trolled and not for users to remove trolls themselves. This option could increase satisfaction for users and make it a more friendly and positive place on the internet. A weakness with this option is how accurate and fast could the artificial intelligence filter remove comments before they are seen, and the damage is already done to the user's mental health. The recommendations are based on the 2 highest scoring options on the weighted decision matrix. The matrix criteria were based on the recommendations being important to the customer, if there will be an instant improvement, the risk involved and the possibility of the platforms implementing the ideas. Based on these criteria, the recommendations are that identification is required for a social media platform and for artificial intelligence filters to be implemented on all platforms. To implement the artificial intelligence filter, a product development strategy is required. Instagram have started using this, and the aim is for all platforms to use it so all consumers feel the impact it can have on mental health. We will aim for a time frame of 6 months, and this will eliminate the issues the sector is facing by using an innovative technical approach rather than the users removing the comments manually. This concept can be created and a prototype can be implemented for a month, and social media platforms can request feedback from its users, and any improvements changes can be made afterwards. Using the 8-step model for the innovation strategy, the service focuses on reducing trolling, bullying and harassment online through the recommendations being provided. We are trying to penetrate the social media market by offering our services to social media companies to help them to change the way they operate in order to proactively prevent trolling and cyberbullying. For the innovation plan, the service aims to provide a service to its clients in order for them to create a safer place within their sites. The innovation team is Rebecca Alcock and Emily Williamson, as they have developed this process-driven service with their company Less Troll, More Lol. Our best options are the verified ID, stricter and more specific laws, and the artificial intelligence filter. We will make this work by working with social media platforms throughout the test and prototype stage, analysing feedback from the consumer and developing and updating the recommendations where required until the consumer is happy with it.
GDPR concerns can arise when storing important user information. As users are submitting their verified government-issued identification, it's possible that security breaches could potentially jeopardise GDPR, putting participants' personal and confidential data at risk. The impact of a cyber attack on massive organisations such as social media giants like Facebook and Instagram would be devastating. This can be seen when looking at the 2017 NHS cyber attack. The breach of their systems meant that the confidentiality of patient data was jeopardised. Not only did this come as a cost to the patients of the NHS who faced over 190,000 cancelled appointments, it also cost the organisation £92 million. Therefore, to avoid legal sanctions and ethical misconduct, Less Troll, More Lol will back up the confidential data, which will include a firewall system and controlled access.
The risk analysis for option 2 shows there is a legal risk and risk of the trolling problem to continue. There is a chance the AI filter will not eliminate the problem due to artificial intelligence not being able to filter out pictures and images. The trolling could continue through this type of media, so an option to eliminate the risk is for social media platforms to pre-approve content before a user can post. The legal risk is breaking human rights laws on free speech and expression. Moderation is needed to ensure lawful interaction on social media platforms. Thank you for listening. That is everything from us today. We hope Less Troll, More Lol will be successful in the future, and our innovative ideas will stop trolls and make the internet a safe place.